Hi, my name is David Hanson, also known as Rags Dandelion, my artist name, I guess. My plan is to put out a magazine called Rags that will feature 4 or 5 horror comics. Some of them will be humorous, some of them will be dark and scary, and some of them will be like the old B-movie kind of stuff. And it will also feature articles and interviews with other artists and other horror-related people. And some of the characters I got going on is Rags Dandelion character, which is kind of like he's an incubus, but he disguises himself as a rock star. And kind of live vicariously through this guy. So. And then I also have Cinderella Succubus, which is kind of like my version of Vampirella. She'll be like introducing a lot of the stories. There'll probably be a centerfold of her in every issue too. And then there's Plasmo, which is a guy that has just tentacles coming out of his face. And it's actually going to be kind of like the old romance novels or comics of the 60s. But nobody can understand what he says because he's got a mouth, but just a lot of... It's really hard to explain. You're going to have to wait to see it, I guess.
Alrighty.
And then, I don't know if I can get that up there. There's also a character called the Critter Witch, which is going to be a serious horror story. You can see that here. But it's about a woman a girl that is left behind in a way out nowhere. So her bugs become her best friends, pretty much. And then some horrible thing happens to her, and she comes back as a malevolent spirit, I guess you would call it. But she is a little girl, so she doesn't have stuff to put in her hair or fingernail polish, or she uses bugs and stuff she finds around the pond that she lives. So that's going to be kind of a dark, serious comic. So I'm hoping to have it out by Halloween. I'm in the middle of penciling the Critter Witch story right now, and that's what I do, I guess.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
How long does your process take?
Well, once I get started on something, let's say I pencil everything out first and then I ink it. It's going to be a black and white comic, so I won't have to deal with colors except for the covers. But it's, gosh, I don't know. I guess it would take me about a page a day to do. Kind of slow. But
that'd be perfect.
But once I get the groove on, I'll start going at it.
Is that how big it is when you draw it? Or
basically, yeah, it's pretty much this size here. Yeah, about that same size.
So you're not only the cartoonist, you're the writer too.
Yeah, writing
storyline.
And they'll be continuing on to the next issue. So you'll have four or five stories that start, and the next issue will keep going. And other characters will be brought in. There's also a story, a strip I want to work on called Stompicide, which is about giant monsters, pretty much. It's like the old Godzilla movies and the old creatures on the loose kind of comics. And there's also, oh gosh, there's so many different things going on in my head all the time. There's a character called Father Fear, which he's an exorcist, pretty much. But it takes place in the 70s, and it's kind of, he drives a big, long purple hearse that's all, pimped out, and a lot of kind of funky 70s funk kind of TV or movies that they made out there. So that's a humorous thing with a little twist to it.
Is that where you get a lot of your inspiration from, like 70s and 80s horror movies?
Yeah, 70s and 80s horror movies, comic books, like the magazine that I'm trying to put together. It's kind of like the old Warren magazines that were out in the 70s, like Creepy, Eerie, Vampirella, Famous Monsters. And you mix that with like the old rock and roll magazines like Cream, and Roxy, and some of the underground comics. And it's kind of like you mash both of those together. That's my plan.
How long you been at it, David?
Well, I've been doing this since I was a little kid. So.
Little kid. You still passionate about it then?
Yeah, it's
Has the industry changed much?
the history.
The industry has it changed a lot?
With the new technologies.
Oh yeah, it's gotten easier in some ways, but the competition is even more because everybody's
Because you're competing worldwide now.
they got a lot of people doing stuff. But
You have a website you want to plug or anything? Anything you
it's
wanna plug?
on Facebook. You can find me under Rags Dandelion, RAGZDANDELION, or I'm also on DeviantArt. So it's ragsdandelion.deviantart.com, and or if you just Google Rags Dandelion, my stuff will pop up all over the place.
Thank you, David Hanson.
Thank you.